Hello, everyone. This is Jeff at divinecosmos.net, and this is my article, Mind Over Matter, Consciousness and the Nature of Reality. Reality is not what it appears. The ancients knew it, pioneering physicists of the early 20th century knew it, and current leading-edge scientists are proving it. All is mind. Throughout the ages, mankind has been trying to answer the big questions. What is the nature of existence and reality? Who are we and why are we here? In our current age, with the ascendance of the ideology of scientific materialism, we have a strong tendency to reject anything that doesn't fit our materialistic paradigm and label it as mystical. We have become mesmerized by the material world. Materialism and consumerism run rampant in our society. Lured by the apparent success of the reductionist method that we have used to analyze and understand our world, we have come to view the universe as a purely physical system, working something like a great machine, and with matter being the fundamental substance of reality. And our scientific analytical methods have certainly been successful and have led us to understand the inner workings of matter well enough to create many useful technologies. But these successes have erroneously led us to conclude that our materialistic view of the universe must be correct and to reject all other ideas as mystical and backwards. The materialistic paradigm persists in popular and scientific thought despite plenty of evidence that it is indeed not true. The theory of relativity and quantum physics have both shown that energy is more fundamental than matter. The pioneers of quantum physics in the early 20th century, Max Planck, Albert Einstein, and others, all came to the same conclusion, that everything is energy and that somehow consciousness is intimately intertwined with it. And yet this insight seems to have been lost since then. Physicists are still chasing the fundamental particle and focusing on material phenomena rather than focusing on what energy is and how it forms matter and what other forms it can take. This sentiment is echoed by the famous turn-of-the-century scientist Nikola Tesla, when he said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." And of course, modern science is still largely ignoring the role of consciousness, despite the observations of quantum phenomenon that strongly suggest that consciousness is intimately related to the nature of reality. Mainstream science continues to assume that reality is objective, that it exists independent of consciousness and the observer, despite much evidence to the contrary. The accomplished English physicist, astronomer, and mathematician Sir James Jeans had this to say: "I incline to the idealistic theory that consciousness is fundamental and that the material universe is somehow derivative from consciousness, not consciousness from the material universe. In general, the universe seems to be nearer to a great thought than a great machine. It may well be, it seems to me, that each individual consciousness ought to be compared to a brain cell in a universal mind." And Sir James Jeans wasn't alone. Max Planck shared a similar viewpoint when he said, "I regard consciousness as fundamental. I regard matter as derivative from consciousness. We cannot get behind consciousness. Everything that we talk about, everything that we regard as existing, postulates consciousness." Consciousness is probably the most mysterious and significant phenomenon in the universe. So to treat it as irrelevant to understanding reality is probably a major mistake. In fact, there have been some very profound experiments that leave very little doubt that there's an intimate relationship between consciousness and reality. And these experiments have led some to conclude that consciousness is the fundamental substance of the universe, as many esoteric and mystical philosophies throughout the ages have claimed in one way or another. It's not surprising that we might get stuck on the idea that matter is the fundamental substance of reality, because this idea is just a natural consequence of our perceptual limitations and biases. Our sensory apparatus, sight, hearing, smell, touch, provide us a useful representation of the external world. But when it comes to our primary sensory channel, vision, it is well known that we are seeing only a very narrow band of energies, that we are not seeing everything. Our eyes detect electromagnetic energy frequencies and convert them to the images and colors that we perceive. But our eyes only detect an extremely small portion of these frequencies, less than 0.00018%. And we're only seeing the clumps of energy condensed to a slow vibration, e.g. matter. We can't see all the rest of the energy and how everything is interconnected patterns of energy. Despite the lesson that the unseen phenomena of electromagnetic radiation should be teaching us, we are still largely unaware of how the limitations of our sensory apparatus have conditioned our models of reality. There are many more unseen phenomena that we have yet to detect and understand. Our visual perceptions are far less complete than we have ever imagined. And this has led us to a tenacious conceptual bias that has colored our models of reality. This bias is interfering with formulating a broader, deeper, more accurate model, including tackling the big question we've been avoiding. What is consciousness and how is it related to reality? Long before the current scientific age, and for much longer, there were many cultures that with a vastly different view of the cosmos. They saw the universe as intelligent and alive in its very fabric. They thought of the cosmos as a great mind. And they thought that our earthly reality was in some sense a grand illusion. Philosophy continues to explore the nature of reality and consciousness and debate many alternate perspectives. Amongst contemporary schools of thought, there are those that resonate with the idea that all is mind. This idea has not been lost completely. And this idea is again echoed in the words of Sir James Jean, the famous turn-of-the-century physicist, when he said, "The stream of knowledge is heading towards a non-mechanical reality. The universe begins to look more like a great thought than a great machine. Mind no longer appears to be an accidental intruder into the realm of matter. We ought rather hail it as the creator and governor of the realm of matter. Get over it and accept the inarguable conclusion. The universe is immaterial. It is mental. It is spiritual." So even though science was born from philosophy, it has long since gone its separate way, with science focusing on how things work and facts, and philosophy focusing on meaning. This is why humanity has lost its heart and its soul. Facts without meaning are like a ship without a rudder. Modern science would have us believe that life, consciousness, and intelligence somehow emerged from the mechanizations of the universe by random chance, however improbable, that they were essentially accidents and hence have no deeper meaning. Yet there are those who believe that it is all deeply meaningful and by design and hence purposeful. Modern science is beginning to embrace that all is energy and is moving toward a unified energetic field theory, but they still have no clue how deep the rabbit hole really goes. When they figure out the deeper intricacies of atomic and molecular energetics and biomolecular energetics, amazing advancements in technologies will be possible. And as this unfolds, they will begin to realize that consciousness is a process in the energetic field. And we will finally bid farewell to the materialistic view of reality that has dominated our thinking for so very long. Exactly how consciousness could emerge in the energetic field is unclear, but a branch of information and computational theory may ultimately have the answer. Cellular automation theory claims that highly complex and organized patterns and dynamics can emerge from very simple systems containing discrete cells with small sets of states and rules that govern how nearby cells are affected. And this structure has an interesting similarity to the base predicates of a number of obscure but compelling unified field theories: zero-point field theory, reciprocal system theory, and others. Presumably, one of these complex dynamical patterns is the process of consciousness itself, the omnipresent intelligence and awareness that permeates the energetic field, the fabric of the universe. For an interesting account of the scientific discoveries that have been unfolding over the past 20 years or so related to the energetic field and its connection with consciousness, I highly recommend that you check out the book The Field and the Quest for the Secret Force of the Universe. According to Guy Needler, in his book, The History of God, consciousness emerged in a small part of the universal energetic field and gradually increased awareness until it was fully sentient. At that point, it decided to explore what it was by experimenting with what it could do. It quickly realized that its thoughts created energy patterns in the field that it existed within. It also discovered that it could divide its consciousness and focal point of awareness into many smaller parts and perceive from many different perspectives at the same time. We are each one of these subdivisions of the universal consciousness. We are all threads of the universal consciousness, and it is experiencing everything that we are experiencing. In the universal mind, thoughts are patterns of energy, and these patterns of energy are everything that we see: light, matter, galaxies, stars, planets, and everything we can't see. And there's a lot more going on in the part that we can see than most of us imagine. The space that we think of as the one and only universe and the one and only reality actually holds many universes and many parallel realities, which have been referred to as dimensions or planes of reality. Because source consciousness is creating all that is with its thoughts, and each of us is a thread of source consciousness, our thoughts are also creative. We don't realize this because we've forgotten what we are, but we are creating our reality with our very own thoughts on an individual and collective basis all the time. This is not obvious because our thoughts are erratic and undisciplined, and hence our creation is undirected and incoherent. If we embrace our creative power and consciously master our thoughts, we can begin to create coherently. And then it will become obvious that we are indeed creating our reality, and we can begin to create the life of our dreams and collectively the world of our dreams. Another early 20th century physicist, R.C. Henry, echoes this sentiment when he said, "A fundamental conclusion of the new physics also acknowledges that the observer creates their reality. As observers, we are personally involved with the creation of our own reality. Physicists are being forced to admit that the universe is a mental construct." So all that is, the galaxies, stars, planets, light, matter, you and me, and everything else we can't see, are the inner workings of some sort of cosmic mind. The universe is conscious in its very fabric, and we are inside of it. This consciousness, in fact, encompasses many universes and a vast number of parallel realities. It is the source of all that is, including our own consciousness and that of every sentient entity in the universe. We exist within something that might be thought of as a mindscape, a realm of ideas made manifest. We exist inside a cosmic mind that is creating a multitude of environments and experiences to explore all the possibilities of existence and expand its understanding of self. It is all constructs of thought within the cosmic mind. You are a construct that we call a person, and you are within a construct that we call the universe and the world. You are a vehicle that Source Consciousness is experiencing through. You are an aperture that it is using to look out onto and experience one of the many environments that it has created. You are a focal point of Source Consciousness's awareness, looking out from inside one of its own thoughts and experiencing them. Through its thoughts, it is forming a multitude of realities and then diving in and exploring them and experiencing them. All realities, all worlds are inner worlds. That's why it said that to know thyself and to know the truth, you only need to go within. Everything is within the unbounded mindscape of Source Consciousness. And it's all within you because you are it. And this universal mind is infinite. And what it can create is limitless. The universe is infinite simply because it's a conceptual space, a realm of ideas and imagination, which makes it inherently unbounded. What it can create is only limited by its imagination, and its imagination is limitless. Each and every one of us is a part of this infinite mind, and we all potentially wield its unlimited creative power because we are it. The only thing that limits us is our beliefs and our imagination. Wake up to what you truly are and be amazed at what you can create. That's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this article. If you did, please consider sharing it or liking it or subscribing to my website or my other channels. Enjoy!